Alright, are we back? I think we're... Let me know if we're back, folks. I don't know what happened there. I don't even know if this is like the same stream. That is weird. This is, hey, Legacy Rideshare. Okay, we're back. We're back. I guess, I don't know what happened there, folks. That just all of a sudden I was notified that we were disconnected, and, technical difficulties, I suppose. So thank you all for waiting. I also realized there is now a lag, because of course there is. So anyway, let's go back to this. So the last spring, Uber agreed to acquire Postmates, which gives it a better reach in Los Angeles and the southern western U.S. Khosrowshahi said the company's delivery business was buoyed by the larger orders from the small and medium-sized restaurants, which tend to pay bigger commissions than national brands like McDonald's and Starbucks. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because you actually screw those people. I'm amazed he admitted to that, but anyway. He said he was optimistic about the industry's long-term plans. Pure-play delivery companies can and will be profitable, he said, even though none are yet. Yeah, but here's the thing. Uber has now essentially done two businesses. They have done rideshare, they've done food delivery, and neither one of them has been profitable, and they are now out of finances. So much for that. So Uber always says they're going to be profitable on one of these things, but, they never are. Now, here's something interesting that my buddies at Gig Workers Rising might appreciate. Still, storms continue to gather for Uber and its ilk. As Khosrowshahi and crew wrapped up their call with investors on Thursday, Uber lawyers made their first appearance in virtual court to defend themselves against a lawsuit filed by the state of California. The suit alleges that Uber and Lyft misclassify their workers and that drivers for the company should be considered employees rather than independent contractors. A loss in the case would transform Uber's business model and cost it hundreds of millions. In court on Thursday, lawyers for California said a judge should immediately force the companies to recognize their drivers for employees. So while all of this is going on, Uber's in court. That's just perfect, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I am not at all surprised that Uber Eats has taken over the rideshare business. I'm not surprised by this at all. I am a little surprised that it's not profitable. Uber Eats tends to be more profitable, at least on paper it does, but they lost $2 billion. I mean, that's pretty much what they lose. Last quarter they lost more money because, of course, we're kind of starting to pick things back up in the country again, but how much more money can Uber lose? I mean, I don't know. It's almost not even worth talking about their stock anymore because Uber just loses money like this. But I do find it fascinating that, this company. Anyway, we're going to end that topic right there. Uber's no longer a rideshare company and they're still losing money, still losing billions of dollars. What do you think? Do you think Uber will ever turn it around? Any of you invested in Uber? What do you think about your investment now? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. All right, let's go back to the chat room. Hey, Ryan, how are you doing? No real comments. I saw Dustin in here earlier, but I didn't really get a chance to talk to him. So, and anyway, see, there's such a big lag right now. So by the time I say, do we have any comments on this? Ryan says, I've never invested in Uber, and Jody says, Uber is eventually going to die. Yep, well, look at the other companies that have died. Sidecar, Trip, I mean, there's, Juno. This is just not a profitable business. So, anyway, let's move on to the second main topic. And we're going to follow up from the last story because speaking of that lawsuit that Uber is defending themselves again, well, as it goes on, it appears that the judge is going to be receptive to Uber and Lyft warnings in California's driver's case. So this is what Reuters has to say about that lawsuit that the drivers are filing. A California judge signaled on Thursday he might be leaning against a request for a preliminary injunction forcing Uber Technologies and Lyft Lyft to classify drivers as employees rather than contractors. In a hearing in San Francisco Superior Court, the company said the classification would irreparably undermine their business models. Of course it would. With Lyft's lawyer Rohit Singla saying it would make things worse for drivers and riders. Well, I disagree, but, some people disagree with me on that one, so, Judge Ethan Schulman said he would try to rule within days on the injunction request from California Attorney General Javier Becerra in the cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco in their lawsuit filed May 5th. But he suggested caution before rushing into a potentially sweeping injunction that could affect hundreds of thousands of people. He, quote, "I feel like I'm being asked to jump into a body of water without knowing how deep it is, how cold the water is, and what's going to happen when I get in." That's actually a fair point. We really don't know what Uber and Lyft are going to look like once drivers are classified as employees and if they have to pay back pay. We do not know what the industry will look like, and there will be a lot of people who will probably get kicked off the platform if this happens. Now, I have argued, and in fact, I was going to discuss a video today, but we're not going to discuss that video. We're going to discuss it Wednesday, that I would argue these jobs are not worth keeping, and there is a UberTuber I found that I think perfectly illustrates why, but I wanted to watch some other videos just to make sure I had all my ducks in a row, if you will. Anyway, Uber and Lyft were accused of violating a new state law requiring companies to classify workers as employees if they controlled how workers did their jobs or the work was part of their national business. Several 100,000 gig workers, including many at ride-hailing companies and app-based food delivery services, which Uber now is, are affected by the law, Assembly Bill 5, which had broad support from organized labor. It took effect January 1st, California's Uber and Lyft's biggest market. The plaintiffs have said the contractor classification deprives drivers of essential benefits such as a minimum wage, overtime, sick leave, unemployment insurance, and workers' compensation insurance. They have also said it gives Uber and Lyft, which are not profitable, an unfair competitive advantage. I agree with that, by the way. The companies have said most drivers would oppose being classified as employees, and job losses could be significant. Interestingly, I think the vast majority of my viewers right now would prefer this not happen. I've come to the determination that most of the people watching my show now want to stay independent contractors, even though they really aren't independent contractors right now. I think people who watched me a year ago would feel very, very differently. But then that's just kind of how it works. A year ago, the vast majority of my viewers were pro-AB5, pro-union. The vast majority of the viewers now are pro-Uber. That's just kind of how this works. If you don't like what's going on with Uber and Lyft, you tend to move on. And then if you are still driving Uber and Lyft, you tend to stay. That's just how this works. Anyway, Matthew Goldberg, a lawyer for San Francisco, told Schulman that Uber and Lyft dramatically overstated the threat of negative fallout. He also said drivers deserve benefits not available under federal law, even during the coronavirus pandemic. The full range of California safety net protections are what we think drivers are entitled to, Goldberg said. Uber's lawyer, Thean Evangelis, countered that AB5 did not outlaw independent work, and Uber was not a hiring entity covered by law. Interestingly, he has a good point. It does not outlaw independent work. The issue is that Uber isn't following the law, and thus the people who are driving for Uber, as I see it now, are employees. Except for getting on and off whenever they want, they don't control their rates, they can't see where they're going, they can be deactivated, they don't have access to their customers' information, and thus are not able to build a private clientele. You're not independent contractors right now. I'm sorry. I know some people feel they want to be, but you're not. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, and Postmates are spending more than $110 million to support a November ballot measure in California, Proposition 22, to classify app-based drivers as contractors. So, anyway, that's the story there. This judge, and it's probably because of what's going on with the coronavirus right now. So many people are out of work, and it's going to be ugly. I mean, if you're not paying attention to what's going on, we're actually looking, if the relief, like the CARES Act, does not get extended or a new stimulus package signed, a deadline is emerging very soon where 40 million people living in houses and apartments could be facing eviction from their landlords. I mean, that is a terrifying, terrifying thought. And, well, the judge is probably looking at situations like that and he's afraid to make a ruling on something that, even if the money kind of sucks, well, people need that money, and who wants to be killing jobs right now? And that's, I think, where the judge is hesitating. But from my perspective, legally, the judge should be doing a preliminary injunction against Uber and Lyft. They should actually make Uber and Lyft do the things they need to do for the drivers to actually be independent contractors, not be independent contractors in name only. However, that's my opinion. What do you think? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, blame responsibly. All right, let's see here. No, Ryan, I have not had a chance to see Howard yet. I forgot that came out today. I'll probably watch it tonight. Legacy Rideshare said, new competition is coming next week. No, it's not. No offense, Will. No offense, Legacy Rideshare. I love you. I really do. But no. Until Trip is actually running, and it's picking people up and dropping them off, not just doing showmanship in Florida, there is nothing to talk about. Trip is dead in the water as far as I'm concerned. And by the way, that coward Bob McNulty never even agreed to come on the show. So from my perspective, the company has no moral compass whatsoever. So Trip, nobody sign up for Trip. I'm making my stance on it very, very clear. Unless Bob McNulty comes on this show and he convinces me otherwise, do not get involved with Trip. Anyway, Mark says, we are back. Yes, we are. Cinema Fan says, so back with Uber drivers being employees, Uber's becoming an evil corporation that must be stopped. Well, they were kind of like that before, to be honest. And Jody says, people are starting to realize about Uber how they're ripping people off, and people are like, yeah, no, I'll just go pick my food up. That's another thing. I don't even do the delivery services anymore because, you know what, yeah, it is a ripoff. With everyone doing curbside to pick up, I'll just save money and go get something. Hey, Terry, how are you doing? When people get hungry, I hope they walk to the politicians' neighborhoods. That will probably happen. I mean, people are getting pretty savvy about finding out where politicians live. Now, for the record, I do not believe going to a politician's house and harassing them is a good thing. Personally, I think people should storm the city hall, if nothing else. But this is gonna be a scary time, and a lot of people will want to let their frustrations be known. So while I don't approve of going to politicians' houses, if people show up, I can't say I blame them. So that's my thought on that. And anyway, welcome back, Terry. It's so good to have you back. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. And let's talk about a fun story before we get back to our dismal rideshare stories. This one, we've been following this story. It's definitely the definition of a fun story, if you will. We've been talking about TikTok and the ever-growing drama around it. That it might be spying on you, and it's Chinese-owned, and I told my wife to take TikTok off her phone, and she has, and Donald Trump wanted to ban it unless Microsoft wanted to buy it, and Microsoft considered buying it, and I don't know if that's still going on, but Trump has officially issued an executive order banning U.S. transactions with WeChat and TikTok in 45 days, which is really 44 days because he did this yesterday. Anyway, here's what CNBC has said. President Donald Trump on Thursday issued executive orders banning U.S. transactions with Chinese tech firms Tencent and ByteDance. Tencent owns Chinese messaging app WeChat, which, by the way, WeChat has been caught. That app has been caught sending messages to the Chinese Communist Party. So, throwing that out there. And ByteDance is the Beijing-based parent company of the widely popular short video sharing app TikTok, of which there is still some question whether or not they're actually spying on their users, but hackers who have reverse programmed it said they most likely are. The ban will take effect in 45 days and may attract retaliation from Beijing. This is what we call a Cold War brewing. While the scope of the ban remains unclear, the executive order said that after 45 days, Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross shall identify the transactions that will be subject to the prohibition. China's foreign ministry on Friday said at a media briefing that it firmly opposed the executive orders, Reuters reported. Beijing will defend the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese businesses, according to Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin, the news wire added. WeChat automatically captures swaths of information from its users. This data collection threatens to allow the Chinese Communist Party access to America's personal and proprietary information, Trump said. I wish I knew that was Trump. I would have done my impression. Let's do that over again. So President Donald Trump said, WeChat automatically captures vast swaths of information from its users. This data collection threatens to allow the Chinese Communist Party access to Americans' personal and proprietary information. Do I still have it, folks? Do I still have it? The order would basically ban the app in the United States as prohibits any transaction that is related to WeChat by any person or with respect to any property subject to the jurisdiction of the United States with Tencent Holdings Ltd. Tencent shares in Hong Kong tumbled 5.4% on Friday. Now, here's what's interesting about this, because China says that these apps are not giving information to the Chinese Communist Party. They say, hey, it's just an app. We want to protect our businesses. But every time Donald Trump wants to ban a Chinese company from the U.S., the Chinese say this is not propaganda, that it's not being used to support the Chinese Communist Party, while in China, the Chinese Communist Party and their people are going on the streets protesting the U.S. kicking out Huawei or TikTok as if they're symbols of national pride, more or less proving Trump is probably right about this one. Anyway, a similar order was issued for TikTok and its Beijing-based owner ByteDance. President Trump said that the popular app may also be used for disinformation campaigns that benefit the Chinese Communist Party. The United States must take aggressive action against the owners of TikTok to protect our national security. TikTok has consistently denied those allegations. It says the U.S. user data is stored in the country itself with a backup in Singapore. And again, if you don't know how this works, in China, when it comes to servers and data, it's not like America where there has to be like a warrant and a request for like Google or Microsoft or Facebook to get that information. If the Chinese Communist Party goes to a company and says, hey, we want this information, they're giving it to them. This is why so many innocent people wind up in jail in China, because they want to build a case against someone. They just build a case. Check out Larway86 for his story, and that's a scary story. Still, experts have pointed to existing legislation in China which could force local Chinese companies like ByteDance and others to hand over data to Beijing. Microsoft announced Sunday that it was in talks with ByteDance to acquire TikTok's business in the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand within the next 3 weeks ahead of the September 15th deadline, of which, if they do that, this will be a moot point. In a statement, TikTok said it was shocked by the executive order. Really? You're shocked? You're shocked? Trump's been threatening to kick you out of here for months now, and you're shocked? Okay, whatever. And said it was issued without any due process. Well, in all fairness, they don't need to do due process. But I think they did. I think they did a little investigation. The FBI has been on top of this. They've been looking into it, and they probably decided, you know what? There's enough reason to block them. Or maybe Trump just had a bad day and kicked you out because he tends to, he tends to do that sometimes. So TikTok said in a statement, for nearly a year, we have sought to engage with the U.S. government in good faith to provide a constructive solution to the concerns that have been expressed. What we encountered instead was that the administration paid no attention to facts, dictated terms of an agreement without going through standard legal processes, and tried to insert itself into negotiations between private businesses. It's interesting that TikTok says this because none of that exists in China. None of that exists in China. So, yeah. Anyway, so this article continues to go on, and we're not going to read the whole thing, obviously. That basically this is a major escalation between the U.S. and China. China's businesses have been targeted, especially when it comes to the computer divisions. And here's the thing. It's not just America. The U.K. has also banned Huawei from making 5G networks for phones. I think eventually the phones will be required to not be made in China because it's just too much of a security risk. I mean, yeah, the Chinese are smart when they design these things, and they could have been spying for a long time. And I also acknowledge that, yes, American companies spy on us too. But as hackers have been finding, it's kind of insidious that we're letting Chinese-made devices into America with Chinese companies that send information to servers in Shanghai, and those servers can be accessed by the Chinese Communist Party without a warrant or due process. It's just it's a scary situation, and I don't think it's worth messing with, so that people can do little 30-second videos where they dance to 80s and 90s songs. It doesn't seem like here's the thing. Do people even know what TikTok is primarily used for? Let's let me look this up real quick. This is what TikTok is primarily used for. This is what your kids are watching on TikTok. I mean, just riveting entertainment. Netflix has nothing on that, right? Anyway, that's what's going on right now with TikTok. This video might get copyright claimed because of that, so darn. Oh well, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I would like to know what you all think about this. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. Alright, so let's see what's going on. Ryan says, you know that Jerry Beck confirmed a few years ago that Lumberjack Rabbit, unsurprisingly, will not be in 3D. I knew that was going to happen. It's a 3D short. Mark says, Chinese vaccine equals Trump. I don't know exactly what that means. He also says hot. Well, yeah, she's hot, but it's not entertaining. But Cinema Fan said, wait a minute. TikTok is ways can be better than Netflix. No, it's not. Guys, Netflix has Shameless on there. If you want to get your, if you want to get the feels, and if you know what I mean, check out check out Shameless on Netflix. You can get the feels pretty fast, along with other shows. So anyway, hey, we have 24 people watching. If you want to give a thumbs up, please do. That would be really nice. Jody said, never cared about TikTok, and to be frank, I've never really used it myself. All right, folks, let's move on to our next main topic. And actually, we're going to be doing another video. But this one, you probably actually do want to see, because once in a while, it needs to be reminded that being a Uber and Lyft driver is dangerous. So this video has been going viral, where a drunk U.S. passenger rips down a plastic partition and chokes the driver with the car still moving after accusing him of lying about fitting the COVID protection himself. So let's look at this video. It's disturbing, and I guess I'm not making any money on this podcast, but whatever. But let's watch this thing. So maybe we can we full screen this? I think we can.
Don't overpay at Hobby Lobby.
No,
WikiBuy can save you money.
Gotta do this ad first. Sorry, folks. I'll edit that out when
Download WikiBuy for free.
this becomes separate. No, I don't want to try that. Oh, we can skip the ad. Warning. Some may. This guy's not wearing a mask.
I bought this from eBay, man. It's two-sided, double-sided Velcro. So I put it in this stuff.
Right. So, like, how did you seal that up? Like, you did that yourself?
Yeah, I did it myself. But sometimes it's joking, man.
So you did this, like, perfectly straight, like all yourself?
Yeah, because request something like that for that kind of big vehicle.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I can already...
I'm feeling up like
Okay, I can already sense that this is... Well, we know it's going to get ugly, but it's like, I'm amazed that this guy's getting upset. Like, so you did this yourself, and you can hear the tension in the voice. Like, I don't understand... Well, he must be drunk. That's what's going on, but why would that matter too much? Anyway.
Oh, no, I was saying, like, that's classic of that. I'm talking about, like, when you're parked and you got this for your, like, career, like, for you to drive a car. You put this in your car, like, you installed it yourself?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, you got this off Amazon and put this across here.
Yes.
It's so funny because it looks just like the last three people that I, like, had in the backseat. Look just like this.
Who cares?
And, like, in the same...
Who cares?
Same width, all that stuff. So, I think you're a liar.
Who cares? It's...
Yeah, now you put a light on. Now you put a light on.
What light on?
What's that?
Did you open the door, man?
No. Nobody's open the door. Where?
Well, this is definitely not gonna end well. This guy's just bothered by the light. And he doesn't like that he's being lied to. Someone probably cracked the window open. Not the window, the door open. These are the people that I want the trip to be as short as possible with. See, now why are you... Now why... And there was a kid in there? Like... Oh, and the car's moving. Of course it's moving. Call the police on that person. Why would you do that? So there was a kid in the car, there was a lady in the car. Yeah, call the cops. So, anyway, folks, that still happens. Stuff like that still happens. So anyway, yeah, what else do you want me to say, really? Stay safe. I don't know exactly what that guy could have done to defuse the situation. I mean, that guy was definitely on edge. And clearly the people he was with were surprised by that. I don't know why that set him off. But hopefully that guy got arrested. Anyway, I'd like to know what everyone thinks about this. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. You know the drill. And let's see what some people are talking about. So, let's see here. Mark says that guy would be in the hospital if it were me. And Ryan states at least that this was over 2 years ago in 2018. Well, it's just coming to light now. So, there you go. Jody says, hope that wasn't the kid's dad. It probably was. I don't know why it wouldn't be. So, yeah. That was just not... that was not safe at all. So... All right. Anyway, let's get to our last few. Let's get to our last few topics, and this one's probably gonna definitely make you upset if you are a fan of DoorDash. But we're all people who are driving the pandemic, I think, deserve a little bit of extra pay. Some companies were good about giving. They were good about giving. I forgot exactly what the term was, but it was like pandemic pay or something like that. Apparently, DoorDash has been giving drivers pandemic pay as well. Which, if they were honestly doing that, then hey, good on them, like, that they're taking care of their drivers. But then it turns out that the extra pay for working for a pandemic, during a pandemic, I should say, for DoorDash, is an extra 78 cents a day. Like, wow. Okay, so anyway, here's this article. The food delivery app DoorDash is providing its gig workers in San Francisco an extra 78 cents per day for work done during the coronavirus pandemic. Gee, 79 cents a day. What can I get for 78 cents a day? I could probably get this bottle of Kirkland water. It can't be Dasani. No big brands. It has to be Kirkland. Let's see here. You could probably get a lollipop for 78 cents a day. You probably get my autograph for 78 cents a day. Like, this is insulting. In an email sent by the company to its Dashers, which are the independent contractors used by DoorDash to make food deliveries, the workers were informed they would be receiving an additional deposit of 78 cents per day for wiping down frequently touched surfaces in their vehicle. So it's not even just an extra 78 cents because they care. It's like, hey, we expect you to wipe down your surfaces, which, I guess you'd probably want to do anyway, but, we expect you to buy cleaning disinfectant and stuff like that. We expect you to wipe your cars out, and then we'll give you 78 cents per day. Wonderful, wonderful. For each day you complete at least one delivery in the California-San Francisco starting point, you'll receive an additional 78% daily deposit on top of your regular earnings, the email read. The deposit is in accordance with San Francisco's emergency ordinance, grocery store, drugstore, restaurant, and on-demand delivery service employee protections, which, among other things, requires that on-demand delivery services must require delivery drivers to regularly disinfect high-touch surfaces in their vehicles and compensate them for doing so. Can you at least give them $1.50? Delivery workers across the country have faced increased risks to their health and safety during the coronavirus pandemic, as they must choose between staying at home and not working or continuing to work despite the risks of being out in public. Although, I will say, if you're doing food delivery, you're much safer. I mean, you're going through drive-thrus, you're leaving the food at the door, like on the floor of the door. You're not actually handing to the person. There's a lot of social distancing going on there. So, in June, Seattle became the first state in the nation to approve legislation that would require gig company workers to receive hazard pay, that's what it's called, during the pandemic. According to the bill, food delivery companies are required to provide their drivers with at least $2.50 in hazard pay for each delivery order completed in Seattle during the COVID-19 civil emergency. Hey, that's not bad. If I was getting paid an additional $2.50 per delivery, I'd be out there. Why not? A spokesperson for DoorDash told Motherboard in an email that the 78 cents daily deposit being offered in San Francisco is in response to San Francisco's mandate and meant to compensate workers for the few minutes needed to complete the required wipe down of vehicle surfaces. Quote, we're committed to the health and well-being of our community and have taken action since the start of the pandemic to help protect Dashers who are on the front line, including providing millions of sets of free hand sanitizer, wipes, masks, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it's 78 cents. It's 78 cents. Look, if you're going to, do DoorDash anyway, fair enough. Extra money is extra money. But this is just so insulting. Like, how do you drive for DoorDash and not get insulted by something like this? Hey, I'm out there. I am risking my life, not only because of the pandemic, but because you're more likely to get mugged when you're doing this. You're much more likely to get into a car accident. There's a lot of risks you are taking on when you do gig work at all. And they can't even give you a full dollar. A full dollar to do this stuff. I don't know. So, anyway, there's a quote here that I forgot to read, but Gig Workers Rising, my buddies over at Gig Workers Rising, said, offering drivers pennies is especially offensive in this election cycle, as DoorDash has already spent $30 million on the Prop 22 campaign, which would allow executives to continue to deny their drivers basic workplace protections. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, DoorDash will spend a lot of money to not take care of their drivers, but they'll send pennies to... I don't know. What do you expect anymore? Anyway, that's that. What do you think of the 78 cents raise? Is this insulting to you, or do you think this is good? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. All right. Let's see here. Ryan said, I'd actually love to get your autograph whenever I come to California and can meet you. Oh, well, thanks. That's appreciative. And Mark says, why would you need to wipe your car down if you deliver food? That's a good question. Well, I mean, granted, I guess there's no... Sometimes if someone's sick and they're preparing the food, then COVID-19 could be on the bags. But yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be that much of a requirement. It's not like other people are getting in your car. At least they shouldn't be getting in your car. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Just something that they're requiring. All right, you know what? I'm going to skip out on the last topic, but I'm kind of getting tired now, and I can kind of hear my wife. She's kind of making a noise, which is a signal. I know you can't hear, but she's making a signal when she's kind of ready for this to be over. So anyway, thank you all for joining me and watching me. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We will try not to have them next time, but, you know, that was just very unexpected. Anyway, thank you once again for joining me. There will not be a show Monday. However, there will be replays tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday. We've got videos every single day in case you missed any of these topics. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday with a new episode. And if you missed any of these topics, they will be replayed throughout the week. Take care, everyone.